So welcome to our monthly State Street and Waterfront Regional Action Plan meeting where we discuss the impacts of homelessness in the downtown area of Santa Barbara. I'm Landon Rank, the Associate Director with SB ACT. I am currently not seeing any community members on the call. I'm guessing some of that is because several of them were at we had a Zoom call on Monday that was for the whole South County region. So we had about 30 community members there. And I think we went over quite a bit, and some of them are people who usually show up to this meeting. So we may have a lower turnout today. Depending on whether they show up or not, we're going to try out just swapping the format with the wrap, meaning that instead of doing service provider updates first, we'll actually start with the community member questions and concerns, and that way we can try and address those during service provider updates. But for today, I'm not necessarily seeing any community members. But if anybody hops on, that's the plan for right now. I will just share a couple brief updates, and most of you on this call will already know about these, but I'm going to go over them because we are recording for our YouTube channel. So anybody who's not here today can see. Just putting the dates in front of you all. So our next kind of big date to be aware of is April 4th, Thursday, April 4th at 1 p.m. is the Planning Commission meeting, at which we'll be discussing the Daytime Navigation Center. And so I'll share a little bit more about that in a minute. Our next State Street Waterfront Wrap meeting will be on the following Thursday, the 11th. And then the point in time count results will be shared at the County Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, April 23rd at 9 a.m. And that'll be the first public presentation. So I haven't seen those results yet, and so I'm excited, or maybe excited is the wrong word, but I'm looking forward to kind of finding out the trends with homelessness in our county. For anybody who wasn't able to attend Monday's open South County Collaborative meeting, you can view the recording from that meeting at sbac.org/AOH. You can also go to that website if you just want to learn more about our South County Collaborative and all the partners that are involved. We also have the goals listed there on the website, but I just wanted to put them all in front of you right now as well, just so you're aware of kind of what we're working on for our first year as a South County Collaborative. Our three main focus areas with this South County Collaborative are behavioral health, so trying to specifically address the mental health concerns of the kind of top 15 highest issue behavioral health concerns in our community, the top 15 individuals. Vehicular homelessness, especially trying to increase the number of RV safe parking spots in our community. And then trying to address public perceptions related to homelessness. And part of that is just trying to get out more media about homelessness. We noticed some trends last year that things like vehicular homelessness weren't being talked about in our major media outlets. And so we really want to get the word out so that we can have the community be a little bit more informed, so that as these issues come up, we can all work on solutions together. And then the last thing is a part of that public perceptions also is just helping people to know who to call and when you should call emergency services versus when you should call homeless outreach or code enforcement, those kind of things. So again, welcome to everybody who's just joining us. I was mentioning earlier, we're actually going to be swapping the kind of the way we usually do this. Instead of doing service provider updates at the beginning, I actually want to start us with the community member questions and concerns. And then that way we can kind of try to address those when we have the service providers do updates. So if you're on this call and you brought a question or concern, now's the time to be thinking about that so that we can bring those up in just a minute after we finish going through some more announcements. So I mentioned earlier the Planning Commission meeting coming up. So that's on Thursday, April 4th at 1 p.m. It'll be available on Zoom as well as in person at the City Council chambers. And so this meeting is going to be discussing this new daytime navigation center that's opening in downtown Santa Barbara. We are asking for community members and businesses to write in support of the center. We need the Planning Commission's approval before we can actually formally open as a drop-in space. Right now, we have this nice big building. We're able to use it for like meetings with all the nonprofits together, which is very helpful, but we can't officially open as a daytime center for people experiencing homelessness until we get that approval. So we need support, especially written support is very welcome, and I'll share more information once I know exactly who to direct those to. But also showing up and giving public comment is always welcome.
Landon, real briefly, what was the date on that again?
Yeah, it's Thursday, April 4th at 1 p.m. So 3 weeks from today.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we'll need as much support as possible. So please encourage your networks to come out in support of this navigation center.
And our current tentative timeline with that is that assuming that everything is approved, then we could try to open the actual drop-in center sometime in May of this year. We have a lot of work to do on the building. We have to kind of move out all the cubicles so we can have our nice big lobby space, do some cleanup and painting in the interior, do some security adjustments on the exterior. So there's a bit of work yet to do, but yeah, if we can get that approved, then that will allow us to actually move forward with everything. All right, so I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and we'll open it up for community members. Oh, go ahead, Mayor Rouse.
Yeah, Brent, I just wanted to add, I've been meeting with some of the neighbors around the area. And for people that don't really understand what the navigation center is or what it's not, it's really important that we communicate with them. So please direct them, if you'd like, to either myself or Barbara. We've been, and I know Liz has been as well. But it's important that we communicate clearly and directly, because there's a lot of different kinds of facilities around the city. There have been other things, and this is a very unique model. It's a new model. So we want to make sure we communicate that very clearly to people that might have concerns.
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. And with that, I'll add that we have kind of built into the plan a lot of ways to mitigate any concerns or impacts that come up in the neighborhood. We'll be doing regular walks around the block and the surrounding neighborhoods to do cleanups, to do outreach to the individuals there, to discourage loitering, along with other things, but just trying to make sure that the neighborhood sees that not only are we in the center, but we're also actually out in the community trying to help the downtown area. All right, any questions about any of those dates or logistics or meetings? Okay, we'll open it up for any questions or concerns in general from the community before we go to our service providers. So any questions or concerns? I know a couple of you were on the all-call meeting earlier this week anyway, so we may not have that much community representation at the moment. All right.
Any hotspots, any upcoming events that we need to be aware of? I know the days are getting longer, getting warmer again. Anything that we need to prepare for or anticipate in terms of activities?
We have a Wednesday series that is continuing this month and going into next month and the month beyond. Every Wednesday from 6 to 8, we have a dance series going on State Street that is worth being aware of, and that's a combination of outside of Night Lizard as well as the new barbecue place at Best Barbecue on State Street. And then on May 16th, we have a live art and wine tour that starts at 5 o'clock and goes till 9:30, and that has a number of 8 different venues throughout the Carrillo to Gutierrez section of downtown, so not the upper State Street section. And that's a pretty high-end event for us to raise funds for downtown, but also to highlight our different restaurants, wineries, and venues. So that's one to be aware of. And then another just date to be aware of outside of events is we're making progress with our community benefit improvement district initiative. And as of April 16th, we will be going to council to request council to sign the petition to proceed with that, but also to have to proceed with the balloting process. So that's a really important time for us to kind of show partnership in the same way that we're trying to align for the navigation center, in that this can have a very complementary element of services for downtown. And if it's approved, the ballots would go out soon after April 16th, and then would come in and be counted at a hearing, a public hearing. And this was just established. Mayor Rouse, if you haven't heard about this, we're just getting it on the calendar. For June 25th would be the date that the ballots would be counted. And if that does pass, that would mean about $2 million would be coming into district initiatives to be able to support security, safety, and amplify some of your all work with additional services around homelessness. And we can discuss what all would best serve you all for that. So I just wanted to mention that's April 16th is the key date that we would want that additional support with. And if you guys have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer. And we can also have an offline conversation to discuss it in more detail.
Well, Robin, we'll definitely want to mention that at the next State Street Rep meeting. That'll be on the 11th. So either I'll follow up with you, but if we can have somebody from your team, or at least just like some bullet points to make sure we're sharing again, then that would be great, because that'll be time when we can get people to write public comment.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, what were the dates for the dance event you mentioned?
Each Wednesday going forward until the end of May.
Okay.
And potentially continuing after that with concerts, but I'm still working on setting those up.
Okay.
Very fun.
What was the one that's from 5 to 9:30? Was that a wine tour? Is that what you said?
That's correct. Yeah, I'll send you guys information and some free tickets so you can enjoy yourselves.
What date was that?
May 16th. It's a Thursday evening.
Okay. Any hot spots, any new activity that we need to be aware of in downtown or waterfront? I don't know how it's going over by the zoo.
I have not seen any new and different activities. Some of the things are pretty similar that I've seen, and there's no new issues, I'd say, to discuss at this point.
Okay. That's good to know. And we are aware of a few places. I just finally got an ID on a person that frequents the 500 blocks. So I'm going to try to make a referral to behavioral wellness. So he's not on their radar. So now that I have a name, I can try to make that connection. So we've made progress on that.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, if there's any people that, look like they need a little bit extra assistance, always let us know.
There continues to be folks around the Marshalls area, and just trying to find ways to continue to touch base there. And I did learn some things off at a conference. I was at a Downtown Association conference this past week in San Diego, and about 250 different downtown managers were there talking about, operations and various issues folks are working on. But in order to, sorry, I'm getting a call on my phone. It's disappearing for a second here, but in order to navigate their public restrooms in other cities, people are implementing a situation where actually at the restroom at all times that it's open. And that helps to navigate some aspects of the spaces. It's not necessarily something that I think that we can do immediately, something that is becoming a standard practice with public restrooms. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that helps to create a sense of safety and maintenance for the space. And any day or time that it's open, there is an attendant.
I caught everything except what was implemented. You broke up during that.
an attendant
Oh, an
at a
attendant.
public restroom is becoming standard practice for public restrooms in other cities, especially in quite frequented places, in order to keep them in good working condition and safe and open to the public in a way that they're comfortable with.
How is that funded? Is that something that would be a CBID funded initiative, or did they mention how that?
You know, each city has a different funding mechanism. Sometimes it is paid for through the city, sometimes it's a grant, sometimes it's a philanthropic initiative. Sometimes it is a CBID and other things. So I think it's just finding maybe the combination of what works. And, you know, for instance, if we wanted to have another public restroom or something of that nature, just trying to find that combination of resource that has that presence. And that's not something that I'm actively trying to work on. It's just a new piece of information I learned at the conference that I was intrigued by.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Please feel free to pass along anything else like that that you learn.
Sure.
Yeah, since we know that that restroom at Marshall's is a hotspot and it's been a hotspot for years, anything we can do to come up with innovative ideas, it's always worth talking about. So thank you for bringing that up. I think something we should definitely keep thinking about. And yeah, if you have any information to share, I think that would be.
I can follow up with more information about how particularly Santa Monica budgets for that, because they have become the model for that other cities are utilizing. And each time someone is building a new facility in a, not always a park, but in more so frequented urban areas that have issues around particularly homelessness or have abuse associated with their area. This is kind of the model that seems to mitigate that and, you know, make sure that, you know, someone's going in there to use the restroom only. If, you know, there is a mess, it's addressed immediately, and you continue to, you know, service that space with someone in there or right outside of it all the time, which sounds kind of extreme, but is actually not really. It's almost less impact or potentially less cost because of the fact that you may not need extra security around it. You may not have as many of the problems that we're trying to address because they're just addressed in the moment all the time. But I can follow up with more details.
And if we do get approved at the Planning Commission, we'll have another restroom that's accessible here at the Daytime Navigation Center too. So hopefully that'll assist as well.
Yep. We're also having conversations about how to monitor
Right.
that restroom. Yeah, so useful information for us.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to our outreach teams then to do some just quick updates. Since the Marshalls area was mentioned, what we'll ask if anyone does have any updates from that area, as well as just a general sharing from the downtown region. So Andrew from Code Enforcement, can we start with you today?
Yeah, hi, thanks, Landon. I don't have anything major to share from our end. We've been working through a lot of the usual areas for us in the downtown and waterfront. There was talk at our encampment meeting recently about down towards the Dolphin Fountain and by Stearns Wharf there. We have been looking into those issues, also working with Ernie in the parks to make some contact with individuals there. But we also have been down around the zoo quite frequently, the Los Patos area and whatnot. Those have kind of been our recent hotspots that we've been addressing at this time.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
have a couple
then-
of hot spots, sorry, tagging on to what Andrew was saying, behind the library, we're aware of that hotspot, the dolphin fountain, as was mentioned. So we're adding extra outreach and focus from our staff to monitor those areas and try to address as much as possible. Looking through my list of other downtown waterfront sites. The train station, we're also aware of some uptick there, so we're also diverting more resources and attention to those areas.
And then Officer Beltran, can we go to you? We can't hear you for some reason. Looks like you're unmuted, but the audio is not coming through. All right, we'll circle back. We'll circle back with you. Can we go to our CityNet team?
Hi everyone, this is Christina with CityNet. I have Karen on the call. Karen is going to be my new outreach partner. Well, she is my new outreach partner. We are the team that covers the Monday through Thursday outreach in the city of Santa Barbara. Along with Odin from Path, we've really been revamping our waterfront presence. We are very familiar with a lot of the individuals there, but I think it was important for us to just really put more focus in the area near Chase Palm Park, as well as the Dolphin Fountain. Karen and I were in Pershing Park and on the waterfront 3 out of our 4 days this week. So we've really been trying to make sure that we have a presence there. We were actually able to connect one individual into shelter. We were also able to assist Cottage with a relocation yesterday. So we were able to send somebody back home to Los Angeles. So we've really been doing a lot of work. I'm really happy to have Karen as an outreach partner. She actually used to work at Path, so she's very familiar with the landscape and with outreach and homelessness in general. So yeah, she's a great addition to our CityNet team. And yeah, that's all that I have for now. We also have John and Olivia who do our outreach Thursday through Sunday with a super hyper focus on downtown and State Street in general. So their outreach has primarily been covering the parking lots from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. So Thursday through Sunday. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Karen. We appreciate you all doing that evening and weekend outreach. For those who didn't see in the chat window, Officer Beltran's audio isn't going to work with his computer, but he was just sharing there's been an uptick in camping under the 101 near the Dwight Murphy Park. And I guess related then, we'll go to Odin, since we know that's part of your area.
Hi, everybody. This is Odin at Path. Just a little bit of an update. Just wanted to reiterate Christina's announcement. Yeah, we've revamped joint outreach with CityNet and with Spanish outreach and a dedicated Cacique Street outreach happening on Wednesdays as well. Since last time we spoke, we've been continuing outreach in the waterfront area, the Lower Milpas corridor, the underpasses on that area, and the site underneath the 101 freeway near Dwight Murphy Park. A couple Wednesdays ago, I actually did collaborate with a few of my coworkers, hand out some rain ponchos over there, in addition to handing out offering rain bed shelters during the rain to some of the folks over that a ways as well. There's about 6, 7 people down that a ways, a few English speakers, the rest of them being Spanish speakers. So that's why it's so vital that we have that dedicated Spanish outreach that's happening. Path did open up inclement weather beds during the rain, every rain event in the last month. And each time it was either at capacity or it was just near capacity. But some success stories since then. We did manage to get one client from the waterfront moved into Dignity Moves, and she's thriving over there, getting back in contact with her substance abuse counselors, and she's actually decorated her new studio over that a ways. She really made it a home of her own while she's working on getting into an actual apartment. We also have one other client from the waterfront who recently viewed a unit at the Victoria Hotel, and hopefully by the end of this month, I should be getting her into there and moved in and off of the streets. So a lot of good work that's happening so far. And once more, I'd like to extend my thanks and kudos to the CityNet team and say welcome to Karen. Thank you guys.
Odin, I'm gonna jump in real quick because you forgot to mention one of your highlights, and I'm gonna mention it for you. But also a longtime individual on the waterfront, Odin and the cottage recuperative care team have really been working hard on getting him prioritized for a unit at the Buena Tierra property, Super 8. So Odin is really, really close to housing him, and he forgot to mention that, and I think it's really important because he's been really, really busting his butt and getting him housed and successfully placed. So shout out to you, Odin.
Oh my
Can't
gosh,
wait to
thank you,
find out who
Christina.
that is.
Yeah, he just had his eligibility appointment today, so fingers crossed.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's huge. Thank you both. That reminds me too that we talked about this on the all-call meeting earlier this week, but the La Posada Dignity Moves project by the old juvenile hall campus is slated to be opening in April as of now. And that's 80 units of transitional housing, of half of which is specifically with a behavioral health focus. So that'll be serving the whole South County region, not just Santa Barbara, but we do know that's going to provide a lot of extra support for individuals who need that additional behavioral health care. So we're hoping that that'll have some impact throughout the entire region, and we'll see a few less people on the streets. All right. Anything else while we're all together? Any other questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
So NPR ran a story this morning about the FEMA not providing the funding that was promised to property owners that provided rooms. I didn't quite catch all of it, but it did not sound very encouraging in terms of leaving people who did provide housing, rooms, during the kind of most troubling times, that they would not be reimbursed. Can you elaborate on that? So I just want to understand exactly the dynamics of what's happening and how that might impact property owners in our area that provided shelter.
I'm actually not aware of this, Rich. I'm going to look this up.
I heard about it recently, and I don't know it as well. I did find an article from Cal Matters that has it. Looks like California might be on the hook, but we haven't, as far as I know, we haven't heard the what the end result is going to be from it on our end. Because I know in Santa Barbara, we our community put a lot of people in hotels, so I think the county could probably speak to that a little bit more since they're the ones that operated Project Room Key. I can post a link to that article in the chat.
Would be great.
And I think it was the California report. So I mean, I can go back on KCLU and see if that's posted on the website, and I can forward a link to that as well.
Yeah, so California looks like they're going to have to pay for it. It's about 300 million.
Yeah,
they were looking to, yeah.
That's what the NPR story had kind of projected. It did indicate there was an effort to appeal to FEMA to. I'm not sure how that federal funding is connected or what the pass through is, but it did sound like there was an attempt being made to go to FEMA to change that.
Rich, I don't know if you're planning to be at the East Side Wrap next week, but I can see if Jet from the county can be there and speak to this.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like that if what the bit that I heard and tried to interpret was accurate, it seems like it's going to leave a lot of people kind of hanging out there financially.
Right.
Looks like they're not saying no to all the rates, to all the reimbursements. I think they're capping it within a certain date. Because I think in California, the project room key was extended even after the vaccine had become available. So I think those are the funds that might be in question.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I will see if I can find that link to the NPR story from this morning.
That'd be great. Thank you. All right, I think with that, we'll go ahead and close the meeting for our community members, and we'll stay on with the service providers. Thank you all, and if I don't see you, have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Stop the recording.